Welcome to EGX 2015 for the Gfinity StarCraft 2 Summer Masters 2. We have got 8 of the very best StarCraft players from around the world fighting it out over 2 days for $10,000. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be exciting. We've got some top talent in the room. Talking of top talent, while we get ready for game number 1, going to throw over to the desk. Lycan, take it away.
Excellent. Thank you, Martin. Welcome to the Gfinity Summer Masters 2 Analyst Desk. With me, I have 2 of the finest in StarCraft, TLO and Bling. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I'm pretty tired. It's like the earliest I've been up in a very long time. I guess similar for you because as us pro gamers do, we don't get up very early.
Yeah?
Well, I'm doing fine. I'm not the usual programmer when it comes to that. But
exception over here.
I'm German after all. We have to get up early.
Yeah, that belly full of Nando's, that help you sleep?
Definitely did. I definitely did. I'm quite sad that you missed out on that, actually.
Yeah, I was kind of sad too. But was it cheeky enough for you?
If there was ever a cheeky thing in life, I'd say it was more cheekier. It was definitely a cheeky one. It was extremely cheeky, in fact.
Excellent, excellent. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be seeing this weekend for StarCraft 2. Look first at the prize pool and the rules, the format. We're going to see quarterfinals today. It's going to be best of 3, and then the semifinals tomorrow will also be a best of 3, followed by the best of 5 finals. Players today are competing for $10,000. Third place, fourth place going to get $1,250. Second place, $2,500, and then first place is going to take away $5,000. That's a nice chunk of change to be seeing, isn't it?
It's pretty nice. I'm sure Lilbo's got his eyes set on that.
Yeah,
a lot of people have been saying that already, straight to the bank for Lilbo. But there are a few other contenders that, in my opinion, can probably be able to maybe pip him to the post. So, yeah, it'd be an interesting tournament for sure.
It's really nice for the players because you only need to win 1 best of 3 and you already have over $1,000. You know, you can't talk about a lot of best of 3s where you just get over £1,000
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes it interesting as well because immediately something's on the line. Obviously, it's a single elimination bracket, so it's already on the line as you start, but the money as well. That's a really cool factor.
Yeah, it's a great place to start. 8 players, like you said, you win one series and you're in the money, right? So I don't think really most pro gamers can ask for a better way to kick off a tournament. Yeah. So let's go ahead and see what the games are that we will be seeing this weekend. First up, it's going to be Patience versus Psionic. And then followed by Marine Lord and Rhett. Then we're going to have Myungsik and Euthermal. And then after that, it'll be Lilbo and Keen. And it's going to be pretty exciting. The winner, of course, of the first series is going to play the winner of the 4th series, and then the winner of the 2nd series is going to play the winner of the 3rd series. And then tomorrow on Friday, that's what we're going to be seeing. And then after that, of course, it'll be the grand finals. And that's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a lot of great games. We have a lot of awesome players that are going to be showing up this weekend. And I'm very excited. How are you feeling about the overall events that we're going to be seeing?
I'm quite excited as well, actually, because this event, it hasn't got WCS points, so it's literally everyone's going to come into it just wanting to win the money. So they're going to be coming out like maybe more relaxed because they haven't got the pressure of trying to get those WCS points. But yeah, it's going to be a fun tournament just because everyone's just going to be fighting purely for the money for once.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and give a real quick recap over the players that we're going to see this weekend. First up, we've got Lilbo, recently off that WCS win. Extremely exciting. Then we have Myungsik, Marine Lord, Patience, Rhett, Euthermal, Keen, and Psionic. A really great group, a few Koreans thrown in there, some players that are really going to add some excellent intensity to this. And then we'll go ahead and take, once again, a look at the bracket. And we're going to be seeing Patience versus Psionic first, Marine Lord and Rhett, Myungsik, Euthermal, Lilbo, and Keen. That's going to be our day 1, right? That's what we're going to be seeing today. And then tomorrow, of course, it's the winner of Patience, Psionic, Marine Lord, and Rhett that will face off. And then it's going to be Myungsik and Thermal, Lilbo, Keen. Those winners will then face off. And then, of course, right after that will be the finals for that $5,000 for first place prize. So overall, it's going to be a very, very exciting weekend. Let's go ahead and start talking about the matchups first. Overall predictions, right? Who do you think is going to take the tournament, Dario?
Well, I'm going to go with the obvious choice, and that's going to be Lilbo. I mean, he's coming off his WCS victory. He's an extremely confident player, and I don't see why what he did back then shouldn't work here. The only thing that, well, Bling and I talked about earlier a little bit is that he's a little bit predictable. and Koreans are very good at preparing, and the bracket has been known for quite a long time. So we'll have to see if Keen counters that. But in the end, I still think Lobo is the favorite.
All right, Bling, I think we were talking about this earlier. You have a little bit of an against-the-grain opinion about this weekend compared to everyone else. Who do you think is going to take it?
Well, yeah, as we can see on the graphic, I'm the lone soldier going for, I guess the European fans and my friends and Lobo especially won't be too happy about that because I am European. But yeah, I've gone for the Korean. I've even surprised myself. But I think Myung-sik, I think he's an extremely good player. I think he's probably underrated as well. He's doing a lot better as of late. And I think if anyone's going to beat him in this tournament, it will be Lilbo. But I think head-to-head, Myung-sik's probably going to take it, in my opinion.
Yeah, statistically, Lobo is the favorite, and of course, apparently with everyone else that's here, except for yourself, he is the favorite. But let's talk about the people that aren't sticking out at the front of everyone's mind. Let's talk about the dark horses, right? Starting off with you this time, Bling, who do you think is the guy that, say, he's not really well known, might show up, or the guy that can show up, and if he decides to today, could take it?
Uthermal, man. I think he's an extremely underrated player. I've played him a lot on ladder, as I'm sure TLO has as well, and yeah, he's just extremely good. He hasn't had the results to kind of showcase his true skill and true potential, which is a bit of a shame to me. He's made WCS a few times, but he's never really gone too deep. But I think with nothing on the line here, he's going to have a relaxed approach. I think he's really going to bring his A game. So I think if anyone, he's going to surprise people.
TLO?
Well, I'm going to go with Psionic because I think he has a pretty good template in front of himself. I mean, he's French, he's Protoss. That's a good combination nowadays. So if he learned a little bit from Lilbo and in general from the French style of StarCraft, he definitely has a pretty good shot. The infrastructure that is there right now in France, they're training a lot and it's showing in the skill of the players. So, you know, could see another French victory, but probably still think it's Lobo, not Psionic, but maybe it's going to be a surprise.
Yeah, I think that Keen is going to be my dark horse. Keen is someone that could, you know, come up, he could do a lot of damage, but at the same time, he's in that position of mediocrity, so it really just depends on how he shows up. I mean, he railroaded his way through the qualifiers. TVT seems to be a really strong matchup for him, but, you know, we'll have to see how his PvP is going to play out. Yeah, so let's talk about the first game that we're going to see, right? Patience versus Psionic, a PvP. What do you think about the current PvP meta, Bling?
I think it's as crazy as always. It's always been a kind of coin flippy matchup. If you choose the wrong build, you're kind of dead right off the bat. So it's a very volatile matchup. I think if you look at these two players, obviously Psionic's the complete underdog here. But because PvP is such a crazy matchup, and Patience as a player, actually, I played him back at Home Story Cup 10, so not that long ago, a few months ago, in fact. And his PvP was a little bit shaky, in my opinion. I'm not just saying that because I played him and I'm fantastic at PvP. I'm not at all. But yeah, I feel like his PvP is a little bit shaky, and Psionic, he can definitely pull something out of the hat for sure.
Yeah, we were talking TLO with Daishi a little bit earlier. We were talking about Psionic, and he even said he took out Lobo, Daishi, and one of the other French players. You know, so he's pretty strong right now with his aggression. I mean, he can do that. If he comes here, do you think that he's going to have that same mentality of, oh, okay, it's just a relaxed, you know, land, and I'm going to be able to do well? Or do you think of all the people here that Psionic is coming here a little more aggressive, a little more hungry than the other players?
I would say there's a lot more pressure on him because he's, out of all the people here, he's the one that has probably the least achievements overall that he can show the public, and that so this matters more to him than to anybody else. It could be a good thing, but it could also mean that he might be a bit more nervous. Patience is much more experienced, has played way more tournaments, and in general, Koreans seem to be a little less affected by being intimidated for playing at a live event. So I think I would say it's hard for Psionic because this means so much more to him, but at the same time he hasn't practiced being in that position where it means so much to you yet.
Okay. All right. Well, we're getting ready to get started soon, so we're going to send it off to Martin. Take it away.
Thanks very much, fellas. It's time for quarterfinal number one. It's time to meet the two guys that are going to start this competition and kick it off in such style. So let's meet player number 1, South Korean Protoss, representing Dead Pixels, Patience. He's going to be playing another Protoss, this time hailing from France, playing for Against All Authority. It's Psionic. Well, they're here, they're ready for business. Guys, good luck. If you'd just like to shake hands and get into the booths. It's about to kick off, so who better than to talk us through the action than our main men over on the desk? It's Daichi and Kaldor. Take it away, lads.
Welcome everybody to our first game here of the day, Protoss versus Protoss, as the analysis desk of course already stated. And well, for you it's actually quite interesting. Your dark horse is playing right now, so we have actually one of your countrymen playing here with Psionic, a player that just come into the tournament last second. How do you actually think his chances are to take down his first opponent here, given that Patience, of course, is the favorite going into this match?
Well, yeah, I took him as my underdog because I know him quite well in France. He has done some impressive results, I would say, 9 months ago, where he took down me, Lilbo, and Marine Lord in the same tournament. So we were like the top 3 French untouchable. And he just came and destroyed us and won the whole thing. So I think he can take him down.
Do you actually like practice a lot with him, or is it more like a player that sticks to himself?
I don't practice much with him, but I know that he does play a lot and he's willing to do something great, because in France we have that spirit, you know. Like, everyone's doing great. We have Lilbo, Marine Lord. I used to do well as well, and I'm willing to come back. And yeah, Psionic, just like DNS, MT Drogo, they are, you know, the French Protoss baguette who are willing to conquer the world.
Well, at that point, he has actually, of course, a chance to prove himself here. We have our Protoss versus Protoss coming up, and I mean, in this case, for Psionic, it's not going to be easy. He's going up against one of the Korean players that we have in the tournament right now. We can see the map boards here as well. We're starting things off today with Coda and go into Terraform. Like, looking at the maps that you see here, there, and also, of course, the bans. Like, what is your personal opinion on that, and what do you expect what we're going to see here?
I think it's a pretty standard veto. As far as PvP goes, Coda to start things very safely, like take a second base and see a bit how the opponent reacts to his own gameplay. Terraform is gonna go a bit nuts. I feel like they are gonna go very aggressive. Psionic mostly, I feel like, and Iron Fortress. Well, we will see if it goes to game 3.
Yeah, well, of course, at this point, we already talked a little bit about aggression. In particular, Coda is, of course, a great starting map. In that sense, they are quite balanced here. And, of course, in this case, we have a Protoss versus Protoss. Bling already talked a bit about the matchup itself, said that it's, of course, really important that you really just, like, commit to your strategy, and you really have to follow through with that. And in this case, it can sometimes be a bit coin flippy depending on the opening here. But right now, of course, we're waiting for the 2 players to get their stuff ready, and then we're going to go into the first one. And, well, that's only kicking off, of course, the entire weekend. We have 10,000 in prize money here on the line, and the players are going to do their best. With Lilbo, we have another French player. The French on the rise, actually. Like, they are doing really well. And in this case right now, we could, of course, see Psionic already advance. It's a single elimination tournament as well, which is actually quite scary. I mean, that's the first game here, and if you're not prepared from the start to give it your all, you might find yourself out of the tournament before it even started.
Yeah, and we might see 3 French players in the top 4. I mean, why not? Why not?
That would, of course, be the dream. I mean, if you guys can pull that off, then you could give us maybe like 1 player. We need a few more German players here. We have one in the analysis desk right now, and we have another one great French player also like here casting here, of course. But well, at this point, we have with Coda our first map. We're going to go then into Terraform, and we've already been talking about this matchup here in particular quite a bit. We have now, in this case, as you can see, our game number 1 coming up in just a second, and Iron Fortress would be the decisive map if we really need it. Protoss versus Protoss is going to kick us off today. We, of course, had a few changes with the players here as well. Unfortunately, Bly, who was supposed to be here at the tournament too, had problems with visa. And that's how Psionic actually ended up in the tournament here. So for him, that's, of course, already quite a bit lucky. How do you think you actually prepared for this? I mean, you get like last notice that you have the chance to play here, and you know your opponent already. Do you have any knowledge about like his training routine, if he really buckled down and tried to focus on the matchup right now, research his opponent, and really has a good shot at taking maybe Patience by surprise?
I think I don't know him personally, like the way he wants to practice, the way he comes, if he's prepared or not for this tournament, but I feel like as a Protoss, You just prepare your builds, prepare certain builds against your opponents into a tournament, and just come and play them and see how it goes. And then it's a lot about the momentum. Is he gonna play well? Is he gonna micro well? He's not used to play in front of people and on big tournaments, so I don't know.
Did you actually talk to him here at the event already? Like, did you talk about with him a little bit how he feels? Like, what he thinks this is going for?
I haven't yet. I haven't.
Oh, wow.
I haven't.
Did he beat you the last time you met?
He did beat me, I think, the last time we played.
Resentment right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to talk about it with him, of course, then later on as well. But for now, we're actually starting things off with our first map. As we already mentioned, it's the first time for Psyonix here playing in front of an audience, and that, of course, is going to shake up things for him a little bit. But the game has started, so we're going to jump into map number 1 on Coda, where we have our round of 8 match, the first one of the day. And starting to the top left, we have our Korean player already. It is, of course, Patience here, the Protoss player in red on Coda to the top left, going up against the French player at the bottom right. Psyonix here, as mentioned before, was able to come into the tournament as Bly had unfortunately visa issues to deal with and could not attend the tournament. But right now we have a French player to replace him from AAA. Patience, of course, playing for Dead Pixels here. And our Protoss versus Protoss secure the day is going to be a pretty interesting one. We've been talking already a bit about the players. We've been talking a bit about Psyonix in particular. But you also have a few things that you know about his style in Protoss versus Protoss and what he usually likes to do.
Well, he likes to go for Stalkers. I think that's a big thing in the French scene. Like, they all love Stalkers. So we have a joke. In France, they just come to tournaments and they say, well, I make Stalkers and I teleport them, like I blink them, and I make money with it. that's all about it, because T-Drogo, DNS, Psyonix, and Lilbo are pretty much playing not the same style, but really Stalker heavy. Psyonix is the kind of guy who's gonna go Stalker, but really early on in the game, and he's gonna try to apply pressure on Patience.
I mean, that's exactly what you also want to see as the audience in that case. I mean, aggression early on, especially when we're talking Blink Stalkers, this is again one of those builds where especially your micro has to be top-notch. If you're not able to just micro these Stalkers perfectly, you're going to lose that game early on and at least have a disadvantage here. In this case right now, we're already seeing a bit of scouting going on the map. Patience in particular has been sending out one of his probes to double check if there's maybe some kind of proxy play. Actually, I think it's pretty smart. I mean, as Patience, you're a Korean player, you go into the game and you're thinking, well, I go in here as the favorite, people expect me to win, I don't maybe really know my opponent all that well, and there is always a chance that you get proxied at some point. So from Patience's point of view, I think it's a pretty smart move to scout out what's happening on the maps this early.
I think that Patience knows Psyonix though, because Psyonix is a kind of player who plays a lot of tournaments online, and he's not on the ladder. He's been around for a while now, even though he's very young. So I think he knows him, but not that much. Like, he's not gonna know exactly what Psyonix is planning to do.
Well, you get at least a glimpse into the main base already, where we have the double gas down for Psyonix already. In this case now, Psyonix not even sending out a scout at all, so he doesn't really bother about the scouting just yet. As we already said before, his style is more to go into aggressive Blink Stalker play here in particular. When we're talking about the map, we've already talked a bit about the map when they started here, but Coda in particular as a player, not only for the Protoss versus Protoss, but your thoughts on the map maybe for the newer players out there that are just watching for the first time here.
Well, it's supposed to be a defensive map, as in you can take a second base very easily, but knowing Psyonix, this is a good map for Blink, so we might not even see a second Nexus from him. That's my thought about it.
The Twilight Council is already in the making, so Psyonix is going for exactly what you already predicted earlier, and Patience, on the other hand, is heading into a Stargate at the same time here. Of course, Patience hasn't really seen anything in the main base except for the gases. He doesn't really know what kind of tech is going to follow here, and Psyonix is just sending that Stalker around, trying to make sure that there is no probe hiding anywhere that could sneak in again to get another quick peek on what the exact tech is. And oftentimes you find yourself in exactly that predicament when you're playing a PvP, that you have to go for one tech without really knowing what your opponent is trying to do.
Yeah, I like it from Psyonix though, trying to scout the proxy a bit, not getting surprised by an Oracle, for example. It is going to be an Oracle for Patience. He's going to be willing to scout a bit the base of Psyonix and maybe take 1 or 2 props. But I would say that Psyonix is ahead just by the fact that he went Stalkers. He's going to be ready for the Oracle, so...
I'm really happy with the way that this works out. I love Blink Stalkers. It's always super nice to see an aggressive Protoss player here, and that's exactly what Psionic is going to do. We already have him with the additional gateways. He's throwing down now his Robo 2. And in this case, Patience following it up with the Twilight Council on his own, but that Oracle that we've been talking about, that is already headed towards the base at the bottom right. He's going to get a very early glimpse of the Twilight Council coming in from the bottom left. So having a good look here, and already, of course, the Mothership Core ready with the defensive Stalkers there as well, but at least for now, Patience is very well aware of what's going on in the main base of his opponent.
Yeah, and I feel like Psionic is pretty far ahead if he doesn't take much damage from this Oracle. Of course, it's always going to be a threat for him. Like he's going to have some troubles going out of his base without the Mothership Core being able to photon overcharge. But yeah, we might see him going to pressure the other Protoss here with an observer, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Patience decided to fight fire with fire here with his own Blink upgrade on the way. Of course, Psionic is faster, and he has also the superior the Stalker count at this point.
Oh.
Nice vision here for Patience. And we've seen already highlighted by the observer, still that probe up at the top left. Now, Patience is in a position where he hasn't really seen that just yet. So if Psionic is able... Oh, there we go. Starts with the scouting, and I think he's going to spot there just barely. And yeah, the Stalker is already moving down, so we're not going to see that forward pylon here in this position. That would, of course, that would have been the dream for Psionic.
By the way, I love this move from Patience, using the Revelation on the Stalker, because he can know if Psionic is willing to apply pressure on him or not. Yeah. And that's something huge in PvP.
So Psionic currently at 50 supply, actually supply block for a second tier now as well, is still completely revealed. And we have in terms of like the Stalkers, or at least when it comes to the Blink upgrade, Patience in a position where he's finally starting to get his own Blink completed, and he has started an expansion, and Psionic is actually going to do the same thing here. Do you really think that he shifted after the the Oracle came into his base and detected this early on, that he's just said, all right, I'm not going to be as aggressive as I planned to, but I'm going to just like take my second base before that?
I want to go deep and say that Patience thinks he's the better player, so he wanted to do some to fly units very quickly and scout his opponent to know what he's doing, do the same but better.
No.
Like he saw what he was doing, he went for Blink as well, and he's willing to go to that macro game and just play better than him.
We have both of them supply block now, thanks to the two pylons that were just now taken out. And Psionic is moving out, the Blink Stalkers on the way. The Oracle is in the base again, and here comes the aggression. We have Psionic already moving, blinking forward, chasing him back. There is still a sentry on the high ground, dropping that force field, but down to the low ground, that expansion is going to be in quite some trouble. But we are seeing Psionic lose a couple of Stalkers to that force field and the position. The Blink wasn't cooldown, and he might not even be able to get that base, especially with the Oracle now, with the Mothership Core now moving in.
Oh, he took him down though, that's great for him. The Blink forward from Patience, killing one Stalker, maybe another one, nope.
Yeah, I mean, he got the overcharge there, and now that is actually like really tricky for Psionic. He has his own expansion up, but there's nothing happening over there just yet. And at the beginning, I mean, he blinked in, he took one of the Stalkers down, but he went maybe a bit too far, lost a few of his units. The Mothership Core moved in with the overcharge, and then it was quite easy for Patience to defend that. In the main base here, finally also the Oracle taken out, but Psionic is still ahead in overall supply. When it comes to the worker supply, he's also slightly ahead of his opponent, so he's not too far behind just yet. But the Stalker count in general, the tech with all the sentries that we are currently seeing for Patience is of course looking pretty decent for the Korean Protoss player.
And the Immortal as well.
Yeah,
knowing that Psionic is, he loves to make those Stalkers. He's gonna build nothing but Stalkers for like the next 5 minutes maybe. It's pretty insane actually, because he loses one Stalker on both sides. He's gonna blink again, trying to... Nope, not gonna work.
Yeah, well, that Immortal is going to give him quite some trouble here, especially, of course, with the sentries around to protect him with additional force fields. We have a few Zealots in the mix now as well. And Patience is really relying on his double base here a lot heavier. We have, of course, already a few probes shifting over from Psionic main base to his natural too. And the two players are both going to head into potential upgrades pretty soon. I think Patience already completed his forge quite some time ago. We have one coming in now for Psionic as well. And once again, he's moving up there, but there's 2 Immortals now already. Now, with a 3rd Immortal even building, Deshi, what do you think about Psionic's Stalker focus here? You've been saying that he really loves to go just like mass Stalkers. Don't you really think that at this point, going just like blindly into blind Stalkers is going to... It's going to become a bit tricky?
Yeah, it's going to be tricky and tough, but he loves it, and he's going to try to go for base trades. That's his plan.
All right, so once again, Patience this time blinking forward up onto the high ground. He's of course using the sentry here as well with his shields. And at least for now, forcing Psyonix back. And you're right, Psyonix is adding additional gateways. He's just getting Blink Stalkers and Blink Stalkers. I'm really curious to see if that base trade scenario works out the way that he envisions it.
You know, he wins games when there is like 5 Colossus on the opponent's army and he has nothing but Stalkers. He wins game that way.
Well, he kind of has to prove that now. So far, we don't really see the Bay, but still, the Immortal count is currently, I think, up to 3. And we have now upgrades coming in for both of the players. With the sentries that we are seeing here for Patience, actually for both of the players, he should have the vision. Once again, Psyonix is splitting his army in there. He's moving in, trying to control the ramp, going for the first of the Immortals, moves back in the last second. Well done by Patience. And he takes down another set of Stalkers here. Psyonix losing 2 during the escape. But in the main base, we still have Stalkers alive, taking down probes.
Yeah, he killed 3 probes for 3 Stalkers in the main base, but that's all right. He's mostly willing to put him out of position and take some critical damage. He's gonna go in again, blink in and take that Immortal, I think. He's focusing it down. And he has so many more Stalkers that he's willing to base trade. That's his plan. And Patience going back.
Yeah, Patience had to move back. He was trying to put some pressure on his arm, but now we had a 20 supply lead for Patience, and it's just gone. Psyonix moving away again, and Patience is forced to play passive. At the bottom left, I think he has a pylon there at the least, but we also have that scouted out by now. So once again, we have just like Psyonix trying to counteract that. He moves in 2 of his Stalkers, just warps them in and makes sure that at least the probe is dying. But yeah, so far Psyonix actually able to make Patience stay in his own base because the Korean Protoss player was just about to move out and try to take down the expansion of his opponent. Well, for now we have once again the blue army just retreating, and he is still trying to pick off 1 or 2 of the Stalkers of his opponent as much as he can. Psyonix again in a lead in supply, and Patience is now doing that swap into the Colossi. He's trying to get his Robotic Spay in. He adds a ton of additional gateways now, 2, 3, and we're having upgrades on the other hand from Psyonix, who's still sticking it out with the Blink Stalkers and trading pretty well against Patience here, sniping another 2 Stalkers and trying to go down on the Immortal. Blinking in, taking it out, and he is trading a lot better than I expected here. You're completely right. He's really playing that positional game against Patience, and so far it's working much better than I thought it would.
It's working wonders, and I feel like he's gonna win this now. I mean, he's at 10 supply, he was behind 20 supply. He just does magic with these Stalkers.
He takes his 3rd base and is behind all of this, so it's just going to be a massive amount of Stalkers. He moves in again, but this time he's taking a bit of a... He has been taking a bit of a beating in this one.
Yeah. I mean, 4 Immortals. He has to calm down at some point. But what he did was very smart. He has to wait for him to go out and then go in.
Oh, Patience. I think he's in cooldown on the Blink. He couldn't go back, and now he's losing all of the Stalkers. He is trying to rush away with a few of them, and he's able to escape with 4, but he lost everything else. And again, it's Psyonix in the lead with the supply. Blinks away, has that 3rd base coming up, and as far as I know, Patience doesn't even know about that 3rd base. He didn't have an observer or anything down there for a long time.
Yeah, I love that move by Psyonix, and he's gonna try to pick up that Immortal. He takes down 1, tries to blink away. The trade is really okay, I think, for Psyonix, knowing that he killed that Immortal. Still 4 alive, though. That's a lot of Immortals.
Yeah, supply is starting to even out again, and with the 3rd base now also starting to be warped in by Patience. We are we're going to see him to try to keep up an economy here. Doesn't know about the 3rd base of his opponent just yet, but Psyonix has been building nothing Stalkers the entire time. The observer count is only at 1 for Patience here, and he's going to try and move over to that 3rd base at some point. But Psyonix with those Blink Stalkers, he's just so mobile on the map that he's always able to just turn it around and force Patience into defensive position.
Yeah, look at that, 2 more gates from for Psyonix. He's not willing to transition.
Yeah, as you already predicted. The thing is, though, it's a really tricky... It's like toying with fire. I mean, you make 1 wrong blink, you find yourself without a cooldown to blink away in your opponent, and you are faced in a fight, and you might lose the game right there. But then again, if he plays his cards well, he might be able to do massive damage. He's trying to do exactly that.
And the base trade.
Patience is going in, and the base trade is going to happen here, isn't it? We already have the attack against the base, but here comes Psyonix moving up that ramp, going straight for the natural. He will have to use, and there it is. He used the recall, and now in this case, how is Psyonix going to react? He can't possibly fight here against all those Immortals, and he blinks away, and he didn't get the kill. He lost the base, but he was not able to take one out, and now he sees the 3rd of Patience.
He killed 2 Immortals, though. Very important to take them away. He has the +2, which Patience doesn't have Dark Shrine coming as well for Psionic. That's interesting.
Is that like the Hail Mary move? I need to make something happen.
When you're behind, go Dark
When
Shrine.
behind Dark Shrine.
That's a rule in the Protoss book.
Well, we have very few observers actually for Patience. He doesn't have a lot of vision, so that could work out in Psionic's favor, who, by the way, is still ahead when it comes to the overall supply. He lost that base though, so we have a 2-place Protoss player against a 3-base Protoss player, but he didn't really come to work. He kills all of the Immortals, every single one. Psionic jumps in. He has the better army, great upgrades on her side as well.
He's just gonna pick and win.
And he's going to take, he's going to take at least a couple of additional units out. And keep in mind that that Dark Shrine is about to be completed.
And that big warp in from behind, he's just gonna blink in. I mean, this Colossus is not gonna last for a while. Is he gonna blink in? No.
He could, and he does. He blinks in and tries to snipe, but he goes straight for it. And now he can also start warping in DTs. The Dark Shrine is done. But Psionic is just moving in. Unbelievable. He lost the space, but he doesn't care. The Colossus is already down. GG! And wow, Psionic takes game number 1 against Patience with a full Blink Stalker build.
We called it. He likes to go for Blink Stalkers.
You called it, yeah.
Well, I thought he would transition at some point, but apparently I was wrong.
Well, to be honest, he transitioned into Dark Templars.
All right.
Didn't really use them, didn't have to. But like, Patience was in a really interesting position there. He was in a fight, and he took the battle, even though he was really down in army size at this point, didn't even have his entire army together. It really looked like he didn't even focus with these units. Do you think he was preoccupied at some other point on the map? It kind of looked like it a bit, at least at the beginning of the fight.
I think it was just very smart from Psionic, because with this upgrade lead and this amount of Stalkers, you're just able to blink in and literally one-shot an Immortal. And I think Immortals are great early game when there is like, 10 Stalkers, because they just do so much damage and they don't die. But later on, when they can die so quickly, I don't know.
I have to admit that I'm a fan. I mean, he builds only Blink Stalkers. He plays that positional game that we've been talking about. He goes for those base trades, or at least tries to, that you pointed out earlier. Patience actually like with a very good snipe against the 3rd base, but one of the problems that he had is even though Patience was on 3 bases, he didn't have that 3rd long enough so that it really did come into play. Like he didn't really get in return for what for the time and all the effort and money that he put into it. So with the army that he was out there, it felt like he felt really safe. You know, he probably said like, all right, I have Blink Stalkers, I have decent upgrade, my +2 is on the way. He's still a bit ahead, but that's fine. I got my Immortals, I have Colossus on the way.
Yeah.
And I have the 3rd base. I should have this now.
Yeah.
And then suddenly that one fight happens where Psionic just blinks in, takes it, has even that backup with the DTs. And to be honest with you, I think those DTs would have done a ton of work. He had, I think, 1 observer, if I'm not wrong. So like he could have done so much with that. Yeah. Yeah, pretty. I did not think that Psionic would actually come in here and take that lead.
Me neither, but apparently we were wrong. He does wonders with his Stalkers. I knew that, but seeing that right now here, it's amazing.
That was pretty awesome there. And from Patience's point of view, that's not going to be very interesting as well, because, I mean, we are going into our next map, which is going to be on Terraform, and Patience will have to look at this map a little bit different. As you said, they are probably familiar with each other in the way that they played before. There's a lot of online tournaments, of course, where we see the both of them. But as you mentioned, Patience probably not really someone who really analyzed a lot what Psionic is doing here. He knows probably his style, but not really down to the T. And he seemed a bit caught off guard by what we just saw there. As you can see here on screen right now, we have Psionic, as we've been mentioning, in the lead. A bit of a surprise there for Patience. And I'm very curious to see how Patience is going to adapt to that. Terraform is going to be map number 2, and with the potential 3rd map on Iron Fortress coming up if we need it. But Psionic so far has been looking really well here. Do you think he's going to stick it out with the Blink Stalkers again?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
All right, straight up answer right there. I mean, guys, we have the surprise victory on map number 1, and the 2nd map is starting up as we speak. So we're going to jump into game number 2 between Psionic and Patience here on Terraform, the quarterfinal at Gfinity. Down to the bottom right, as you can see, we have in this case the French player Psionic with a 1-0 lead against his Korean opponent. To the top left of Terraform, there it is, Dead Pixels, Patience, and yeah, Psionic with those Blink Stalkers, I mean, really well played here, and that style works out quite well for him, so I'm curious to see if he's going to do it again. I would love it, to be honest, because the last game was quite fun to see how he acted on the map.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about Patience there, because I feel like he did the proper response last game.
Yeah.
and he lost anyways.
How does it affect you as a player? I mean, you've played for like a long, long time. You're super experienced with like tournament environment in particular. You've been mentioning, for example, which I find extremely notable, that this is like the first real offline tournament for Psyonix where he has shown himself. When you attended your first offline tournament, did that really put an additional strain on you, or or were you just able to shake it off and say like, all right, it's another day to go?
I think back then I would have just played another game, like a leather game.
Yeah.
But right now I think you have two options. Either you think that you played bad and you're just slapping yourself and be like, okay, I'm just gonna play better and this time I'm gonna win, or you take a gamble.
As
Take a
patience.
big economic risk, or you cheese your opponent or something. You try to do something a bit weird to take the advantage.
I would believe that with Psyonix, as we said, like it's his first offline tournament, winning the first map should give him a massive confidence boost in this.
Yeah, it should. I mean, every time you face a current opponent, you see this flag, and you're like, all right, am I gonna do this? And when you do it, you're like, they're not so good. So, yeah, definitely a confidence boost.
And then you lose the next two.
Of course.
Well, Psyonix, he has, of course, other plans now. He wants to take this one as well. But yeah, the Blinkstalker style, we've been harping on about this, but it really worked out for him, and we could definitely see it again. Talking about the map now in particular, I mean, we've been talking Blinkstalkers. He really loves to do it. How do you value Blinkstalkers here on Terraform compared to, like, Coda or any other map out there?
Well, it's very similar as Coda, but it's even better because you don't have this this choke on the second base. So it's very hard for the defensive player. It's harder than on Coda. So for me, there is no reason for Psyonix not to go Blinkstalkers and win this game, because if he did it on Coda with a proper response from Patience, why would he not win on this map?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Patience is going to adapt to this. I mean, in the last game, what we saw him do was start things off with the Stargate. He went into the Oracle, scouted out what exactly was happening. In this case, though, we are currently seeing him with his second gateway already coming in. So he drops the second gateway here. We had him again with a scout, whereas Psyonix did not send out a probe at all. He has now the Mothership Core to defend for now and also make sure that there's, of course, no scouting going on or anything. So, yeah.
And surprisingly from Psyonix,
Who would have thought?
he's gonna go Blink. Might be DTs, but
Do you think he would do that? Going into like early DTs here, do you think he would like gamble when he's one ahead? I mean, he could. He has the lead in the series.
that would be smart against an opponent that he knows him, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That expects the Blinkstalkers again trying to blindside him a bit.
And just go full DT and, and win the game.
Patience is apparently going for now also well with the Twilight Council and all of the gateways for Blinkstalkers as well. Do you think that Patience by now is just like saying, all right, I figured you out. I'm just going to fight fire with fire from the beginning, not waste any time with a Stargate opening an Oracle. I'm just going to play Blinkstalker. I'm going to play it better than you.
Yeah. I think that's what he thought game one. But he took like a shortcut with the Stargates. He really wanted to know what Psyonix was up to, I think. And now I think he has a pretty good idea of what Psyonix likes. He likes Stalkers, you know that.
Well, we have already, of course, also the Robo now coming in, so scouting is going to be there for Psyonix with the observers. What I'm really curious about is like Patience looking at this. In the last game, he already went into Blinkstalkers at some point as well. If Patience suddenly now says, all right, you know what? In the last game, I tried to transition out. It didn't really work. He outpositioned me instead. Now I'm just going to stick with Blinkstalkers myself as well. That would be funny as hell for us, at least, if suddenly both of them just like said Stalkers. It is.
Hey, it's the best for us. I mean, Blinkstalkers Wars, it's just the best. It's micro,
so good, yeah.
so micro-intensive.
And also like the decision making. I mean, you make one wrong move, you underestimated your opponent's just like army at some point. You blink forward, you uncool, and he has another couple of Stalkers coming in. They blink forward too. Suddenly you're in a losing battle. You can't escape anymore. And it's just like it can end the game in a flash. So the Stalker was awesome. But for now, we have exactly that shaping up in front of us. We have that second base, much faster, by the way, for Psyonix in this case. Super early if you compare it to the last game. But yeah, he's going into the Blinkstalkers, and Patience is actually the one crossing the map.
And I like that. He's confident. He's taking the initiative with this second base. He's like, yeah, come at me, bro. Come and kill me. I have Stalkers, you have Stalkers. Come and watch.
Yeah, he's basically just saying, like, I have the better micro, try to deal with that. Crossing the map right now. Blink is ready for Psyonix, and Patience is just seconds away from completing his own. 9 Stalkers against 6, but we have like, well, we had 3 more coming in for Psyonix. Yeah, he's at 8 in this case.
9 against 8.
Psyonix will have to cancel here, probably.
I don't know. He's going for it.
Gonna try and delay it so that he can use the Mothership Core with the overcharge, and he forces him back for now. And once the base is through, that's all that he needs for now. And it looks like that's exactly what happens. So, yep, there we have it. So now the Mothership Core can move in and drop the
For an
overcharge.
overcharge, maybe. Yes, he's gonna blink in at the same time.
Yeah.
There he goes.
And he's taking down one, and he's also able to snipe the probe and the pylon. That is a pretty sick position for Psyonix. He has the expansion, he has killed a lot more Stalkers, and yeah, Patience is of course going to try and catch up. He's already expanding, but he is behind, and this is not going to improve anytime soon.
I mean, I don't play Protoss, but I don't need to play Protoss to know that he is in a lot of troubles right now. He is.
It completely didn't work out. I don't really feel like he expected the expansion to be this early, and all that Psyonix had to do was really delay until the Nexus was up. Then he can use the Photon Overcharge, and yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, we're seeing this this French baguette going
Dude, like,
ham.
This is a single elimination what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
If Patience loses this map, he's out of the tournament. And Psyonix is just moving cross map now. He has 16 supply more. He's just going to snipe the base. He's going to push him into a single base play. Patience will not be able to hold on to this one. There's just no way. Down goes the Nexus, the last second cancel as an Immortal, but that doesn't help either. The Immortal might actually be sniped. He snipes the Sentry too. Great value for him. Psyonix moves away. He has an amazing position right now. Patience is trying to expand once more. The Harvest account is already 31 to 25. Psyonix, just time is working in his favor. He's in an amazing spot.
It's so great for me. Seeing him building only Stalkers and winning, like he says.
French hard right now.
Forge going down for Psyonix, so he's willing to go a bit longer into this game. Even though he's probably going to try to blink into the main and do some damage. This Stalker is falling. The Immortal.
Yeah, but he kills a couple of units, and he doesn't even stop there. Goes in, kills another one. It was a pretty decent trade for him. And also, I mean, he keeps Patience on his toes. Patience is just like sitting there. It's like, well, if I focus too much on defending my expansion, he's going to blink in my main base. And again, Psyonix moves in, does a bit of damage, blinks forward. He's very aggressive, takes on the first Immortal, goes straight for the second one, and he takes him down. He wins the Stalker battle here as well, does he? Stalker's moving in for Patience once again, but Psyonix in a great position here, saving individual Stalkers. Blinking forward once again, and he's going to take down half of the army. It's game over. And 2-2 victory from Psyonix. I can't believe it. He takes him down with a 2-0, and Patience is out of the tournament.
Wow. Wow. The baguettes.
Wow.
Nice.
I mean, that was super solid. That was definitely unexpected in such a fashion, but that was crazy good. Psyonix with superb play here. And he's able to take down not only Patience, but also make it happen in 2 maps, 2 in a row with the Blink Stalkers. And I mean, that second game, Patience saying, I'm going to be aggressive now. I'm not going to stand here and wait until you come and try and beat me with their Stalkers again. I'm going to show you how it's done. Gets beaten back, the expansion goes through, and Psyonix is saying like, all right, that's my game. I'm not going to make a mistake anymore.
Yeah, but, I mean, the second game wasn't even close, to be honest. He destroyed him. I don't know, Patience tried to do something. He just removed him from the game.
Going into the series, what did you expect? Like, be honest.
I expected Psyonix to make Stalkers.
Did you expect him to win?
No. I thought it would be the first game a surprise.
Yeah.
Like he just kills him, but then he reacts well and beats him. But it seems like Stalkers are way too good for him.
Yeah, I mean, like we've been talking about that it is one of his strengths, and that's what he was trying to play here, and it worked extremely well for him. And it felt like, especially after the first game, Patience, well, maybe lost his patience here a little bit, and ended up losing that with the 2-0. So incredible play here by Psyonix, and of course we're going to talk to him now directly, because I really want to hear what he has to say about this series. So we're going to give it over to the stage now, where we have Banks already with Psyonix, and then we're going to see what he himself has to say about that victory. Moving on now, of course, to the semi-final here of the Gfinity Masters.
Thank you very much, Caldor. We are joined by our fantastic first winner of the day. It is Psyonix. Now, first thing I've got to ask you, we all know Patience wasn't happy with a PvP to start off with. Did you go into this with the mentality of, I can just rush him, like you, same tactic both rounds, both Blink Stalkers? Obviously, you tried to tech up on the first game, but you just came through so strong.
I think this style is the style I'm the most confident with. It's probably the style I only use in PvP. I'm a one of the only who use only Blink Stalker all game long. It's kind of all in, but sometimes you can blink into even if it's Immortal or Colossi. Like if you have the perfect number or correct number, you can one-shot units. And up until this point, like if it's Stalkers against Stalkers, if he tech, he has less than you, so you probably win.
Now, once you went 1-0 up, what was going through your head? Did you think, okay, now I've got his match numbered, I know what I'm going to do?
I actually felt bad for Patience because he won that game, but he made slight mistakes when he wanted to snipe my Observer. He blinked like 10 Stalker or so, and he was trapped, and he lost a lot of them. And by now I was, I think, a bit ahead in terms of the third and maybe upgrades, didn't check. But, well, he lost that many Stalkers that I was like, yeah, if I only do Stalkers, I can blink in and win. That's basically what happened.
Now, we were reading there was a blog from Jorasar. He said the first game, obviously, between yourself and Patience, probably the only game where we could be looking at a serious upset. Now, you guys, obviously, you come through, you've done this now. Thoughts for the future now? You're thinking, oh, you're feeling confident, you've got a bit of time on your hand now, you get to watch the rest of the games. You're going to go plan some stuff out?
Well, I don't know. I think I will watch a bit of the next games, but I will probably focus for tomorrow. I actually felt like I should have lost against Patience because this time I was not playing StarCraft 2. I only started playing when Pewee told me that I will go to Gfinity. So 1 week or so, I was playing another game. So that's, I would say, a big upset. Then I can win against Patience.
Well, that is very interesting. We're going to send it to Lycan and the guys on the desk now to discuss that.
Thank you, Banks. What an incredible series. I mean, I did not expect that to happen at all. PvP can be volatile, yeah, sure, but 2-0 on Patience. What did you think of Psionic's victory, TLO?
Well, I would agree a little bit with what Psionic said, that Patience, maybe he didn't play his best game. Like Psionic himself said, like he hasn't practiced so much. Like he definitely played well, but he played towards exploiting the mistakes of Patience a lot, I felt. Especially in the first game, what Psionic did, in my opinion, should not have worked with the Blink Stalkers only. But Patience got out of position again, led single units being sniped out for no reason. So this pure Blink Stalker composition should only work kind of for a base trade, but that scenario never happened. So if Patience just keeps his army together and doesn't make move outs for no reason, he's in a rock solid position. But even from there, he was kind of okay, right?
Yeah, like the thing which actually resulted in him losing that was just his lack of scouting. He was in a great position. He forced the Photon Overcharge out really, really early with his Oracle, which should never really happen. You should always kind of wait for the second kind of jump back in. You should usually be able to have 3 Stalkers and maybe take 1 or 2 probe losses here and there with the initial poke, but you should be able to defend it with minimal losses and then kind of put on a bit of aggression if you choose to, which he did later on, but we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, Patience, so it started out really great for him, but yeah, just lack of scouting. He didn't have any sentries. That's really confusing to me. He had the Immortal count. He kind of defended maybe 3 or 4 attacks that kept coming from Psionic, just purely Blink Stalkers, so he knew that was his army composition, so he knew that he was ahead. So there's only kind of 2 ways that you can go from there, which is either tech up, which he did do, or be aggressive, which he did do as well. So he was kind of doing both things, which is a little bit questionable, and obviously when he was out of position, he got caught out a bit. But if he did have those sentries for that hallucination, and the Guardian Shield actually, that could have been pretty effective, but mainly the hallucination, like he would have saw exactly what Psionic had. He would have saw that he had 0 tech, just purely gateway units, and he could have went from there. But yeah, that was kind of his downfall.
Yeah, and then, sorry, even then, Patience managed to move out and snipe the 3rd base of Psionic. And there, after that, he was in a good spot. He was able to recall into natural and defend the attack of Psionic, and was still on 3 bases himself. But then he completely split up his army, and it's like, when you defend everything, you defend nothing, right? So Psionic was able to blink on half the army of Patience with his entire army, and that should just never have happened. Because even if Psionic blinks in the main of Patience, he's gonna lose maybe a Robo or like a few units or pylons, but he should have been able to just defend against it with his entire army together, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty exciting series. We saw a lot of just great moves out of Psyonix. We saw a lot of great decision making, kind of channeling his inner parting with how he made Blink Stalkers work. But yeah,
I think Patience was just a bit too scared.
Yeah.
You know, like he knew that he was the better player, but he was just too scared. And you can't do that in PvP. We spoke about it before. You have to be certain with what you want to do. And Patience didn't do that. And in Game 2, we saw that especially. He went for Blink Robo. That is the standard build that you do in PvP. It's the safest build that you can possibly do. And he went for it, which is fine, because so did Psyonix. But Patience scouted with his Mothership Core on top of that. I mean, it's completely unnecessary. You don't need to do that. You've already got everything that you kind of need. You've got the Robo for detection. You've got Blink Stalkers just to be safe against any Stargate play. So you're kind of safe against everything already. So going for the Mothership Core Scout, which is going to deny that Photon Overcharge when you eventually take your natural expansion, which he couldn't even get up. And as we saw from Psyonix, he was able to have that in time, and yeah, he defended it and kind of went from there. So yeah, a bit of a shame from Patience because he is such an experienced player, but yeah, it just goes to show that PvP is a crazy matchup.
So yeah, we're actually gonna cut to a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna have Myungsik and Rhett. It's gonna be a really exciting series. So we will see you guys soon with more Gfinity Summer Masters 2. Stick with us. Hey, Mike.